All right, so now we're going to solve equations using multiplication and division. And the process is very similar to that we used when we were solving with addition and subtraction. Only this time, the relationship between the variable and a value that you want to move to the other side of the equal sign is multiplication or division. So you can see in this case 2 times x. Now I have to move a 2 away from the x that is multiplied to the x. And so if I come over here, 2x equals 6, well, we can sort of predict this answer, can't we? 2 times what equals 6? Well, we know that in this case, x would have to equal 3. 2 times 3 is 6, and that would equal 6. But we're not always going to have such simple numbers to work with. Luckily, we have simple numbers for learning processes. So let's go ahead and figure this out. I want to take the opposite or inverse of a multiplied 2. Well, we know that the thing that undoes multiplication is division. The inverse of multiplied 2 is a divided 2. So I'm going to disappear the 2 on one side and turn it into a divided 2. I disappear the multiplied 2 and I turn it into a divided 2 on the other side of the line or the equal sign. And so now x equals, well, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And that's exactly what we expected to get out of our example, for our value for x. So this is a method of solving equations called transposition, which just means that we transpose or alter the number. We use inverses or opposites. So we either use the inverse or the opposite. And it's just that easy. So let's do a few examples and then I'll let you get to practicing on your own. So we want to solve 12w equals negative 96. So I happen to know that 12 times 8 equals 96, so w must be negative 8. I happen to know that. You may have or you may not have. In any case, it's just an example of using a simple number to learn the algebra. So you must do the process even if you're clever enough to know the answer without doing the work. You're here to learn the algebra, not to prove that you're a good guesser. So let's look at it. I want to get the w by itself. What's in the way of w being alone? 12. How is 12 connected to w? By multiplication. What undoes multiplication? Division. So I turn a multiplied 12 into a divided 12, and now I just simplify. W equals, well, the negative and a positive means that the answer is going to be negative, the value is going to be negative, and 96 divided by 12 is indeed 8. And that's exactly the answer I expected to get. Now let's look at an example where we get to see what happens if I'm dealing with an already divided value. So we want to solve. Again, this means that you want to make sure that the variable ends up all alone in the end. A over 12 equals 11. So we want to know what is A. This one's tougher, right? What would A have to be in order for A divided by 12 to equal 11? So this time I think we really do need to solve. I could kind of put a little more effort than this first one, or even the example over here. But I think it's worth doing the algebra on it. So we ask ourselves the questions, right? There's a series of questions. One, is the variable alone? If it's already alone, you're done. There's nothing else to do except for maybe simplify it on the other side. But in this case, no, the variable is not alone on one side of the equal sign. So 2, what's in the way? And then there's actually a number 3 that I'm going to skip. You'll learn that in the next lesson. Number 4 is, how is that connected? Okay, and then 5 is undo it, right? We're going to use the inverse or opposite to undo it. So what would undo it? So, is the variable alone? No. It has a 12. What's in the way? 12. How is that number, how is 12 connected? By division. And so what would undo it? Well, a divided 12 becoming a multiplied 12 would undo the process. Now remember, you have to cross the 12 out on this side. You can't leave it there because I'm disappearing it from one side and moving it to the other side. I have to keep the balance balanced. So then now all I have to do is simplify. Well, A is all alone now. Yay, I'm almost there. And then 11 times is 12 times 11. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. Repeat. 2, 3, 1. So 132. And that's the final answer to the question, what number divided by 12 equals 11? And that's really it. I wish I could give you a much longer lesson, but the truth is, it's just those steps. You need to go practice them and get good at them, but that's as simple as it is to solve equations using multiplication and division.